Oh, Enemy, such an underrated film. So recently I stumbled upon this thriller when searching for a movie to watch on a pizza night with my friends. Since I'm a sucker for psychological films, I was looking for one this time as well. I found Enemy on a list of recommended psychological films on one website, and surprisingly I had never heard of it before. My friends and I concurred that we would give it a go. Not only did it turn out to be a hidden masterpiece, but there was also something about it which I just couldn't erase from my mind. It kept crawling around it incessantly and uncomfortably. It was like a piece of fruit stuck in your teeth, or a fly buzzing behind its shutters, unable to find a way out. I felt quite like the time when I watched Night Stalker on Netflix. Just like I couldn't erase Ramirez's eyes from my mind, I couldn't do it with a spider from the last scene of Enemy. So I decided to go through some of the scenes again, and put together my own interpretation. I combine what I know with what I saw and compile what seems to me a multifaceted explanation of Enemy with a focus on its psychological meaning. Whether you've seen the film or not, I can assure you that you will find what is discussed in this video useful in one way or another. Okay, so let's begin with an overview of Enemy. To begin with, Enemy is full of symbolical images that are aiming at the very bottom of the minds of the audience. These minds are deemed to be volatile and overflowing with promiscuity, which threatens to squish any sign of rising commitment. In fact, it's exactly something we struggle with daily because of the duality of our nature. Just like in Albert Camus' The Plague, which I discussed in a previous video, and you can have a look if you're interested in the topics of dualism and the meaning of suffering, the spectator is thrown into an uncomfortable environment from which there's no escape. This environment feels like an underground space in an ancient torture chamber, with spikes emerging from an approaching wall with no place to hide and all of that. In Enemy, the disheveled appearance of a history teacher stuck in the monotony of his everyday life, who's constantly being plunged into an ever so tasteless intercourse and who's surrounded by bored students, all vex us to the depth of our core. The colour palette of the film makes the atmosphere sickly and gloomy, and throughout the whole film, something revulsive grows in us exponentially, with the protagonist delving deep into the apparently nonsensical labyrinth of the conflict of his subconscious. The director makes us face the plague we bear within, and he does so mercilessly. The crudely split mind of the protagonist gazes deep into the darkness of our own being, where only disgust with the world and lust after destruction of moral barriers reside. The desire for unrestrained freedom depraves our senses and interprets morality as creepy, long-legged spiders, plotting to ensnare us in inescapable duty and commitment. Aside from being about the struggle of the protagonist with commitment, the film reflects today's society which, in its pursuit of all-embracing tolerance and political correctness, slowly abandons values cultivated by thousands of years of trial and error on which the society that functions was founded. In Enemy, we meet Adam Bell, a university professor, and Anthony Clare, an actor, who are in fact two aspects of the same person. Adam is the primary personality, which is easy to discern, not least because of the symbolism of his name, Adam, the first man. At some point, his alter ego Anthony rises, and Adam's mind is split into two. The film represents the conflict in the subconscious of Adam, or Neurosis, based on his struggle with commitment and troubled relationship with women, or the mother complex, which I'll both analyse in the next section. Neurosis. Adam is a history teacher whose wife is pregnant. He unenthusiastically drags himself from day to day because he sees his existence as superfluous. He has no goals, he's bored with his life, and most of all, he's terrified of the responsibility for his family, because he can't even assume it for himself. His life and marriage resemble dictatorship to him. That's also what he gives a lecture about and what we see painted on the wall in one scene. He's just a robot toiling away every day. Why? Because his life is meaningless. He doesn't have a goal, nor does he try to have one. Existential crisis thriving in today's society is beautifully depicted in the conflict in Adam's mind. When his friend recommends him a movie with the title When There's a Will, There's a Way, where the name itself represents the solution to his meaningless existence, he misinterprets it. How? He sees his twin in the movie and starts looking for it, which is what he incorrectly believes to be the answer to his dissatisfaction with his life, pursuit of the lowest desires. Adam's alter ego, Anthony, is hence the manifestation of Adam's desire to live sexually promiscuous and unrestrained life. It's the part of him that's never grown up and failed to adopt responsibility for his actions and decisions, which, when set free, wreaks havoc on Adam's mind. Anthony is more like a teenager than a grown-up man. All he thinks about is freedom of body and spirit, no commitment or rules, no stable relationship or family. Where does this come from? A meaningless life. And where does this lead to? A meaningless life. Anthony has an unstable job. He's an aspiring actor, but he doesn't show up at the job for 6 months. For the same amount of time, he's been away from his wife, Helen, She's also 6 months pregnant, which suggests that he ran away immediately when he found out. This simply means that Adam tried out an acting career, but it was a botched job and he's a history teacher now. He cheats on his wife and we see him visit a strip club right in the beginning, where a woman is about to crush a spider or commitment. As for the relationship with Mary the mistress, he illusorily feels empowered and in control of his life when he's with her. He doesn't have to be committed to her and takes her whenever he wants. Chaos is order yet undeciphered. In this sentence lies the solution to Adam's conflict. Adam's life is meaningless chaos, and the solution he wants to believe is the right one is in reality even more chaotic. And deep inside he knows it. The real right solution stands right before him, and he also knows that from the very beginning. The last scene, Sigh, reveals this clearly, but we'll get there. But he holds on to his desires, for which it remains undeciphered. Finding a meaning, a purpose, finding fulfillment in his role as a husband and a teacher, designing goals and pursuing them is what order hidden underneath the chaos represents in Adam's life. Since it requires effort and commitment, however, he chooses to slack off instead and gives in to a wandering lifestyle. As he vacillates between the pull towards morality and stray towards immorality, his mind breaks. And here come the spiders. Spiders represent a feminine figure whose affection devours the male, just like the female spiders sometimes do with a male in real life. When they appear in dreams, they often signify the conflict in a son whose mother prevents him from finding a woman on his own. Throughout the film, apart from spiders, we come across spider webs, which represent the snare of home life, a domestic trap. In other words, it's Adam's preference for complacency and idleness because it's comfortable. He can't fly the nest and rely on his own wings. The same thing is represented by the mother archetype depicted in the film and manifested in its negative aspect in Mary and in its positive aspect in Helen. Spiders also represent anxiety, which entraps the individual, and the feeling of otherness towards the psychic world. The former is exactly what we see happen to Adam when his conflicted mind splits. The latter provokes the appearance of spiders in the form of a higher call of the self, which is ignored. Adam is afflicted by indifference towards a higher purpose and focuses on the lowly needs only. Order is, however, trying to creep into Adam's consciousness and intends to get integrated, and that is what Adam's journey is about. As for the mother archetype in Enemy, it's not represented by Adam's mother's image, but is manifested in the idea of opposing commitment. In Adam, mother is his lowest desires, careless way of living, chaos, the terrible mother that devours. Why commit to something if one is protected by the mother? In other words, by the safety of liberal and complacent way of living. The mother complex manifests in Adam in the form of Don Juanism, or frequent changing of partners. Apart from Adam's name, the names of his wife and mistress also reveal something about their roles. Helen, as Helen of Troy, is for whom Troy War broke out, and for whom Adam is vying with Anthony. Mary, the virgin or the mother, in this case is the mother who provides a safe shelter from the world. No need to commit. And also terrible mother, devours commitment. Mary freaks out when she notices the ring mark on Adam's finger, because that's what she hinders. She eliminates any mark of commitment. The ending. Eternal cycle or chaos finally deciphered? The decisive scene in Enemy takes place when Adam returns home, and as he snuggles to his wife, Anthony and Mary have a car accident. The whole scene could have possibly taken place just in Adam's mind, signifying the vanquish of his alter ego, or of his lowest desires. They are both destroyed when Adam decides to commit to his wife. Adam wins over Anthony, but for how long? In the final scene, Adam stumbles upon the envelope he took as Anthony from the place he previously worked at. When he opens it, he finds a key there. The same key with which he got to the strip club. He tells his wife he'll be late tonight. At the first sign of temptation, Adam decides to return to his old ways once again. As Helen doesn't respond, he enters her room and boom, a giant spider. There's a change in Adam, however. He sighs. History repeats itself. When it happens for the first time, it's a tragedy. But when it happens for the second time, it's a farce. This is what Adam says during one of his lectures. Seeing the giant spider that was his wife a moment ago in the room, it descends on him. He is his own enemy. And this means that the cycle starts again. Unless... Alright, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and press the subscribe button. You can now also support me on Patreon, and you can find the link in the description. Make sure to leave some feedback in the comments and see you in the next video. Take care of yourself and farewell.